Good evening. This is Maestro Cortello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 2v2 on Desert Showdown. Our first player right here is Dance Commander, the Commander of Dance. An interesting name. He's playing as the Eldar Warlock. The Eldar Warlock has moose antlers. I love the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he fights. He's a really cool guy, really badass. He can be a tanky melee hero if you want to kit him out that way. He can be an offensive spellcaster, and he's got some variations in between. Very good hero. Actually considered one of, if not the best in Elite Mod right now. Dance Commander's teammate is Ace of Swords, playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. He's got a nice Tzeentch theme going right here. The Chaos Sorcerer is a spellcasting hero, mainly focuses on spellcasting. He can fight decently in melee, but he's mainly about his spells, especially later on when he can get abilities that can make units explode. He can get mind control, he can snare. Really good hero, really cool guy. On the other side of things, first of all, we have Kosteman as this purple Granite Bro Captain. An absolutely beautiful color, I must say. And he's about to walk. Oh, I thought he was going to walk right through the wall. Bro Captain is a tanky melee hero. Right now, just kind of standing around doing nothing. He's wearing Terminator armor. He does not get suppressed or knocked down. Yeah. And finally, I can't select Kosteman's teammate. That means his Techmarine must be inside a garrison. So I really have no idea where he is. We're going to just back off from the fights a little bit, let them play out. Howling Banshees nearly got wiped by the combination of the Bro Captain as well as the Strike Squad. Got to be very careful right there. But let's see, we still can't select Kosteman's teammate, but I found Kosteman's teammate right there, somewhere inside the building. Yes, right there. There's the Techmarine. That is... You know, gee, I really don't know what Kosteman's teammate's name is. For now, we're just going to have to call him Russia. But he is playing as the Techmarine. The Techmarine is a ranged hero right here. And he has very good range damage output to start out. He has a lot of versatility with the different guns he can get. He can support vehicles very well with his Blessing of the Omnissiah Global, as well as just repairing them normally, especially considering that Space Marines typically already get 2 repair units in the form of double scouts. So Inquisitorial Stormtroopers right here already have a Sergeant upgrade for Kosteman. That Sergeant gives them an extra member, and that extra member has 250 health instead of 100, making the Stormtroopers quite a bit tougher. Scouts right here need to be very careful. That Doom Blast should have come a lot earlier. That does allow Russia's scouts to get inside the garrison, and I think had he Doom Blasted earlier, those scouts would not have been able to make it to the garrison, and they would have actually been in a position where they could have been killed entirely. I definitely heard some Doom Bolts going down. So Ace of Swords has gone for a double heretic build. He has not put aspiring champions on either one of his heretics. That allows him to save some power and then quickly put out a havoc on the field that we see right here, which synergizes very well with heretic worship, specifically with Tzeentch worship, which infiltrates units, and then you just get that instant suppression since the havoc suppresses instantly out of worship. Very, very useful, especially in combination with the Sorcerer, who can then allow it to basically hit confirm his Doom Bolts, basically ensure that most or all of his Doom Bolts actually connect. The Sorcerer has also been equipped with the Sword of Flame, which I think is a decent choice in this matchup. It's hard to go wrong with the Sword of Flame. It's a straight-up upgrade to his existing weapon, and it's actually better than the Rod of Warfire as just purely on damage, and that's also considering it's a cheaper weapon that you can get in Tier 1. Heretics try to charge in, and Grey Knights are typically vulnerable to early melee, but Kosteman is using the grenade launchers on his Stormtroopers as a melee counter, disrupting those Chaos Heretics when he sees them. The Warlock right here is fighting the Interceptors, and this is apparently a losing battle. Certainly, you know, in his vanilla form, the Warlock is not really that great in melee. He only starts out with 690 health, which is okay, but I mean, if you think compared to what units like the Bro Captain are getting to start out, or the Force Commander, or the War Boss, certainly right out of the gate, the Warlock is not going to give you the kind of melee capabilities of, you know, like the Force Commander or the Chaos Lord or whatever. So the red team is pushing up. Russia has quite a big force right now. He's got double scouts, Devastators setting up right in front of these Devastator Marines. This is bad news for the Devastator Marines. I think they will have to get out of there. But instead we have a teleport from the Sorcerer, and the Sorcerer with that Vestments of the Warp and the Sword of Flame is going to be a very hard counter to pretty much any setup team. And that's also one of the reasons to get that Sword of Flame. Oh wow, and he even straight up wipes the Devastator. Beautiful play by Ace of Swords. So the teleport cooldown is relatively short on the Sorcerer's Vestments of the Warp. Oh my god, but Ace of Swords nearly loses Heretics, comes very close. That is one of the reasons to put an Aspiring Champion on your Heretic squads. You can actually lose Heretics, non-Aspiring Champion Heretics, on retreat from ranged fire just because they are that squishy, especially from a commander like the Techmarine, who I'd say the Techmarine probably fields definitely is among the like I'd say the top heroes in terms of early range DPS, both in terms of being a ranged unit himself as well as combining with his army. There's just a lot of early range DPS coming out from any Techmarine, since you've got the Scouts, the Tax, the Devastators, and the Techmarine himself, all ranged units. We have more units in trouble. Russia's about to lose a Scout squad. Yeah, that's got to be a dead Scout. Wow, just area of effect death right there. Oh my god, Russia's going to absolutely get murdered. He loses an attack squad, oh my god. Just another area of effect death, just those two TAC models died together. Alright, so Russia is screwed. Just lost everything. A lot of beautiful plays from Ace of Swords. There are... one of the good things I'd say about Chaos in general, and I'd say this also probably definitely applies to the Sorcerer when you have that Sword of Flame and Vestments of the Warp, is that Chaos has a lot of early kill potential, a lot of early wipe potential. And that's especially compared to a race like, say, Space Marines or Imperial Guard, which don't have that kind of early wiping potential. They're just not as good as wiping squads early like that. Certainly races like Orcs and, oh my god, Chaos Space Marines just standing there not doing anything, lose 2 models from that grenade. Ace of Swords just took it, probably didn't see it. But certainly races like Orcs and Eldar also have a lot of early squad wiping potential. Tyranids probably does too, especially if you go for a double Hormigaunt build instead of a double Termagant build. But good plays by Ace of Swords and Dance Commander. They've actually managed to bash and cap one of the power farms, one of the red team's power farms. So Russia's struggling quite a bit. But I'd say he's making possibly one of the best unit choices that he could possibly make, which he's getting a Dreadnought. That's a good choice because right now both Dance Commander and Ace of Swords don't have a whole lot in terms of transitional AV. Basically, they don't have much transitional or emergency AV that they can put on their existing roster, and certainly nothing enough to take on a Dreadnought. Now, Ace of Swords is getting a Dreadnought of his own, and that could certainly that certainly can be very hard AV, since a ranged Dreadnought would be doing a ton of damage. A ranged Chaos Dreadnought would be doing a ton of damage to the Space Marine Dreadnought, and a melee Chaos Dreadnought would be beating any Space Marine Dreadnought in melee as well. Ranger's getting very close to dying right there, so Dance Commander with a pretty light build. His Banshees have actually been getting owned by the Grey Knight units. It's often been said that that Grey Knights struggle a lot with early melee, and right now they come very close to losing those interceptors. But a lot of their melee units actually seem to do fairly well against the Eldar units. Howling Banshees come very close to dying right there. Only that Exarch is getting away with those dual mirror swords, or will she? 15 health. 10, 7, 5, 6, and she just barely gets out of there alive. Very, very close. That Bro Captain was chasing, but he just doesn't do much in range. And the Bro Captain is still chasing, but wow, so the Bro Captain can kind of just stand in there in front of the base. I think because these base turrets are so far back, that they weren't actually doing much damage to the Brocaptain, and they weren't suppressing either. Let's see. Russia actually goes for a Assault Cannon Dreadnought, and meanwhile, Ace of Swords actually has a Tzeentch Dreadnought, which is one of my favorite units. Oh, that's very bad for the Techmarine. Techmarine, oh no, he needs to swarm with his heretics. I'd say Russia just needs to get ready to get some things to counter that that Chaos Dreadnought, so that his Dreadnought can have a bit of an edge, or at least stay alive. Russia did get the Orbs of the Omnissiah, but his Techmarine is all the way in base, and we have a lot of Dreadnoughts right now. Kosteman with a Grey Knight Dreadnought. I've noticed that he really likes to get this Grey Knight Dreadnought. And Dance Commander, I think, is actually lacking a bit in terms of vehicle responses. That Mark of Tzeentch Chaos Dreadnought is just an extremely good unit in many, many ways. It's actually one of the best sources of AV period in Tier 2. It does the DPS, which I believe has not been changed since retail, is 46 explosive, which is really quite a bit. That's more than most of the units, period. But now it is... Unfortunately, this Chaos Dreadnought is out of position. Ace of Swords, unfortunately, his Sorcerer is right here, so the Dreadnought goes down. Just kind of got cornered by two Loyalist Dreadnoughts. We have the Grey Knight Dreadnought and the Space Marine Dreadnought. This is now bad for the Grey Knight Dreadnought, though. It's actually charging in, and that actually is the right choice, since Wraith Guard are an extremely powerful ranged unit. They cannot be suppressed, and they will win pretty much any ranged fight, I think. And the main way you deal with them is just by tying them up. Massive Doom Bolts going down, murdering that Strike Squad, although they have not lost the model. So Russia has managed to recover reasonably well, considering how many units he lost. Now he is floating massively. He should probably just put a scout and attack on the field, since he has the requisition to do it, and he could use the extra repair support since he has a very powerful vehicle right now. He actually already has one scout, so maybe he doesn't need another scout, although it actually wouldn't hurt. I would say he could at least use attack. There goes that Assault Cannon Barrage, good for disruption and doing a lot of damage too, even to those heavily armored Chaos Space Marines. We do now have a Havoc out for Ace of Swords. And we actually have a melee Dreadnought now. He just had the Melt-A-Gun, and now he's switched to the Axilum Mechanicum and Bionics. He wants a melee Dreadnought. And I guess that's a decent choice. He did already spend the resources. Oh, Howling Banshees might go down right here. I can really see them going down. Maybe. Very close. In fact, now Russia is over-investing a bit in his Techmarine. He basically just switched at least 2 warriors. So he's paid a lot into his Techmarine. And part of that's okay, because the warriors that he had are not going to be as useful as the ones that he just bought. So he's switching for a more effective loadout. But he should start getting units, and luckily he did get Tech Squad. Oh my god, Havoc's in a lot of trouble. The Techmarine needs to turn around, and so does the Brocaptain. Missed opportunity there, but the Brocaptain did take out the Warlock, although I think taking out that Havoc would have been a more valuable kill. Especially since I'd say Dance Commander and... I mean, Kosteman and Russia are way behind in DPs. And to be honest, they lost Tier 1. They lost Tier 1. Kosteman and Russia are kind of staying in this and coming back because Dance Commander and Ace of Swords have not really had adequate anti-vehicle responses to these 2 massive vehicles. Now that Havoc is out on the field, a Havoc with a las cannon is hard AV. Ooh, Sorcerer goes down there. A Havoc with a las cannon is hard AV. It just does very good damage in addition to snaring. But I'd say the biggest disadvantage of a Havoc is that it's very easily forced off. If it gets jumped by a unit like Interceptors, it pretty much needs to retreat immediately, especially now that these Interceptors are level 3, or you can really risk losing the Havoc squad entirely, which is a lot worse than just retreating it and having it off the field. These Wraith Guard are obviously very powerful as AV, but again, also there's the same response there. Now, the Wraith Guard won't die easily, but they will just be very easily tied up, and then they won't really be very effective as AV because they will just be in melee in a very losing battle.
As you would have it.
Now, Ace of Swords does have something to help up his... He does have something to help out with his AV. He now has a Las Cannon cast Predator, which I said that Mark of Tzeentch cast Dreadnought was just a great source of AV. A cast Predator is even better. It is both faster and more powerful, although slightly less durable. And I've also been noticing that just double Dreadnought plays in teams, like one Dreadnought, or not just a Dreadnought, but one Walker per player in a 2v2 can be a very strong play, since the advantage of the Dreadnought is mainly its durability. So you're putting two very, very durable vehicles out on the field. Now, a lot is going down right now. The Havoc is under infiltration, and it's actually being left pretty much alone. I think it will get a shot off on the Grey Knight Dreadnought, but the Russia is following up. Oh, he needs to, like, tie up that Dreadnought. I mean, tie up the Havoc. And look at how much damage that one axe swing did to that Havoc. And the Grey Knight Dreadnought goes down. So, some interesting dynamics here. The red team is very low on VPs right now, about to lose the Techmarine as well. Russia a little careless in many different ways, both with his commander and with all of his unit losses. He even lost another scout squad, and he has a new one. But, I mean, obviously, the red team pretty much lost Tier 1. I would say they actually pretty much won Tier 2, in part because Dan's commander and Ace of Swords did not invest a whole lot into Tier 2, but they also got to Tier 3 first. And now that they're in Tier 3 first, they have a bit of an advantage, and I think this... Wow, it's actually a 1-0 cap. There we go, the Chains of Torment. So the Sorcerer switches War Gears, got both the Robes of Torment and the Tome of Subjugation, but goes down right there. Wow, so the Purifiers right here didn't acknowledge them, but they just, two of their models just got gibbed. And the Warlock is about to go down. The Warlock gets a cap off because he's desperate to try to get the cap off. But now the Bro Captain is right here, and he should get the cap back. Still very few VPs for the red team. Only 19 left. Going to be 18, stopped at 18 VPs. And now we have this strike squad right here. Level 3 strike squad. Now, for the most part, let's see, Kosteman, he has done well to preserve his strike squad and his interceptors. They are level 3 and level 4 respectively. That is very, very nice. Especially since I would say that the strikes probably do not scale too well, aside from unless you level them, in which case they probably do scale pretty well, since you've just got this tough, durable unit doing both decent range DPS and decent melee. Purifier is quite a bit better in melee, and actually seem to be winning against the Howling Banshees. Now, one of the advantages of the Howling Banshees has always been their special attacks, but what seems to be good about the Grey Knight units is that they actually really seem to get a lot of special attacks, even against Howling Banshees. Both these Purifiers, the Interceptors, and I think even the Strikes. The Strikes and the Stormtroopers were using Dan's commander's own energy shield to protect themselves from range fire, although they did retreat out of there. Red team still with more of the VPs, 2-1. They're going to get the side one over here. A new late game Devastator from Russia. He is actually, wow, he's managed to stay in this game even after a lot of unit losses. He's got double Devastators coming out, and he has a Predator. Now, his Predator, he should absolutely put a las cannon on his Predator, since head-to-head, if his Predator does not have a las cannon, he will head-to-head lose to Ace of Swords Predator, especially with Ace of Swords also having that las cannon support. Now, Russia is a little low on resources. He should probably prioritize getting the las cannon first. It would be really nice to fully upgrade the Predator, because then at least head-to-head it would have an advantage over the Chaos Predator. Although Ace of Swords, again, still has that las cannon Havoc. Russia himself has double Devastators protecting this VP. It's a little unnecessary, I think. He could probably afford to put a las cannon on one, although his line of thinking may be that he and his team are so low on VPs that they really can't afford to let Dance Commander and Ace of Swords have the VPs at all. Which is certainly, especially when you're in the middle of playing a game, is just a way you're going to feel, and to be honest, sometimes it actually probably is true. But then the other issue is just that Ace of Swords has a las cannon in the middle, he has a superior Predator, and we have an Eldritch Storm. Snares that Dreadnought, does not take it out, but now oh my god, Kosteman's taking some losses, I think. Oh no, that's Ace of Swords taking some losses. He lost his Sorcerer trying to, Ace of Swords lost his Sorcerer trying to subjugate. Now we have an Avatar out on the field. Wow, I didn't even see that coming. And now I definitely think that that Russia really needs to put a las cannon on one of his Devastators so that he can control that Avatar. His Devastators are at the side doing nothing, and they're about to lose the middle. Russia is about to lose his Predator, and there is nothing he can do to stop it. It's backed up against the wall. Probably just right-click toward his base, but then it backed up against the wall. A lot of things are dying. We have a Heretic Squad here down to 3 models. And wow, the Interceptors actually land their anti-vehicle grenade, but they don't have much to follow it up with. Ace of Swords lost his Havoc. I did not see it. And Heretic Squad gets out with... Can it get out? Oh my god, gets out with 1 health. These tacks in the building were shooting at it and just barely missed their last shot. Chaos Terminators now out for Ace of Swords. They're doing some force melee on the Dreadnought, but now they have Lightning Claws. I think they are going to go for the building to do splash damage. Now, the story is that splash damage apparently does damage units inside garrisons, although that does not seem to be the case here. So instead, they are now going for the Bro Captain, realizing that clawing a building is not going to do much. And a Terminator model goes down to that Bro Captain. Bro Captain, pretty tough guy. A Terminator himself, probably a lot more experienced than these Chaos Terminators, but there are 2 of those Chaos Terminators with Lightning Claws. And the building is starting to take damage. An Imperial Abyss on the units inside the building. Is that enough to take out the building? No, that was actually a huge waste of an Imperial Abyss. I'm guessing Ace of Swords was counting on it and thought that maybe it would. But it did almost no anti-garrison damage. And very little damage to the building as well, although the Marines inside seem to be doing some awful weird stuff. Now, this is very smart, because this actually is anti-garrison. Although it wasn't as powerful as I thought it would be. But oh my god, look at the VPs! It is 63 to 18. So, Russia and Kosteman... Oh my god, that building went down, and so did the tax inside. I kind of missed that. It's a triple cap for the red team. Now a double cap, just a double cap. And the Techmarine is absolutely going to murder that Sorcerer and get them the hell off there. Might even take him out. No, probably not. No melee charge on that Techmarine. 2 to 0. Terminators get a decap, but it's still a single cap, and I think the Techmarine over here will get the cap right here as well, unless this Avatar has something to say about it, but I don't know if they can get the cap up soon enough from these Terminators. Those Terminators are not capturing fast enough. 2 to 1 cap, the Techmarine gets it off instead, and that is a win for Kosteman and Russia. Pretty amazing at the end there. Hope you enjoyed the cast. I didn't even see how fast those VPs went down back in Kosteman and Russia's favor. Have a good night.